It's 2019, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the much suggested reptile room update. People got angry last time because I didn't tour the room, I just stood there with animals. So we're gonna do both this time, work our way around. There are currently 36 animals in the room. Not all of them are mine. About half belong to Emerald Scales, which is the project or company that I co-own, where we rehome and sell different animals. So if you are new to the channel, this is where I make videos, usually on reptile stuff. I'll link a playlist down below with a bunch of my favorite videos from the channel so you can see if it might be a channel that you're interested in, so we'll find out. Also merchandise. This design, along with the potato frog design, will be ending soon, so if you want to check those out, you have like 2 weeks to buy them. So that's about it for that. Now let's go ahead and check out some of our animals. Starting off, this is a bearded dragon here that we've had for a few weeks, maybe a month at most. He is pretty large. We end up with a lot of very large beardies. Thankfully, he's in one of the better conditions compared to other herps that we've seen. So he really didn't need any rehab or anything. Right now, he's chilling in a very lame 40 gallon. His permanent home will have to be way bigger because he's large. He's a big boy and he needs a space. He has a great attitude. He's one of the sweetest beardies that we've gotten to work with and care for, which is why he is so tempting to me, because I don't know, watch some really old videos and I'll say how I will probably never get a beardie, but I just didn't have any experience with them, so I learned that they're actually pretty cool. This is Olive, my blue-tongued skink, that I've had for almost 5 years now, I think. That's pretty, or maybe 4 years. Pretty long, regardless. She was my first, bigger lizard, but now that we've worked with so many larger ones, she doesn't even feel that big. She's definitely on the lean side when it comes to blue tongues, but I don't have any concerns about her weight. She's not one that I really take out as much as I wish. I don't know why. So Olive is an omnivore. She's one of the animals that can basically eat anything that's in the room, whether we have a leftover mouse that nobody ate or some extra veggies that someone else didn't eat. She can just eat it all. She's like the compost of the room, but she does get her own fresh food all the time. But it's just cool that we do have some animals that can strictly eat one thing, like the axolotl can only eat night crawlers. Meanwhile, she can eat anything that moves. As you can see, she's also one of the more slower moving animals. She's got those very short little legs. If she wants to move, which she probably won't, she can sprint pretty fast. It's impressive, but most of the time she just doesn't care about anything. She'll bite you if she wants or whatever. She's just her own woman that doesn't care what you have to say. Well, he's probably not going to calm down in this shot. He is very new to us and apparently pretty new to handling. So I'm kind of out of breath from chasing him around because I'm out of shape. But this is the green iguana that we've only had for a few days. First thing you might notice is he has a lot of stuck shed. He's also pretty underweight. He's gone through 2 homes now. We got him from someone that watches these videos and that has seen us at Repticon and stuff. So hi, if you're watching, here's your iguana. And he got him from someone else. I don't know who, but whoever that was didn't seem to know what they were doing before the guy that gave it to us. So luckily, we're confident that we can do good for him. As you can see, the tail whip on him is the worst part. So green iguanas are one of the animals that are very often known to they're really tiny when you find them. You get them at whatever pet store for 10, 15, 20 bucks, and then you're stuck with an iguana that gets 3, 4, or 5 feet. So he's still extremely small for his size. Granted, a lot of their size is because of that ridiculous tail, which does hurt when it whips you. It's a true whip. So an iguana is the most intimidating animal that we've worked with, even though it's not technically the most dangerous or largest. So it's really interesting and fun. Someday, maybe I'll actually keep one long term, but he's a cool dude that'll go through a lot of work. This is his enclosure. It's pretty interesting. Apparently it's for ferrets and mammals and whatever. But it's been working for him. The humidity is going to be interesting keeping that up. Can you stop? As you can imagine, once he is full size, he's going to need a massive enclosure. And this is barely anything for a full-size iguana, so that should be fun. So here are 2 leopard geckos, one of which you might notice. This is Goldie, who I've had for almost 5 years now. Actually, exactly 5 years. I got him January 2014. Now Goldie managed to develop calcium sacs. You might be able to see him. And he's been on the same diet for a year, and they just appeared. So luckily that's an easy thing to fix. You just reduce the amount of calcium they're eating and they'll go away. It's just something that comes up when they are consuming too much calcium. So it all just goes to their pits. This, on the other hand, is a female leopard gecko, which was an Emerald Scales animal, but isn't anymore. So her enclosure, I'm thinking, everybody keeps saying I should do a bioactive leopard gecko enclosure. She's kind of my chance to do a fancier thing, so maybe that's something you'll see in the future. Her tail is by far the most interesting part design-wise. It's super bright. People have been saying it's like carrot tail related. And then the rest of her looks pretty normal, which just happens to be basically my favorite leopard gecko morph. So they're like the most fun animal. Like, come on, just look. She's not tail whipping me or anything. She's just chilling, enjoying her life. And Goldie's just wishing he could go back to sleep, so I'll let them do that. So it'll be a miracle if we make it through this clip without me vomiting, because she just pooped everywhere and it smells really bad. This is Bonnabelle, my Savannah Monitor. I'm sure you've seen her because her videos do quite well, even though she's like the most irritating to make videos on. But if you didn't know, she had parasites. Her parasite treatment is completely done, and it has been for a few weeks. So apparently they start showing noticeable changes within like a few weeks of being done with her treatment. She looks the exact same. She hasn't grown at all, hasn't gained any weight. I've been keeping track of her weight. Nothing. So that's fun. Once she's like in your hands and you start working with her, she does get better. So I've done a ton of videos on her. I won't go super in detail. I'll just give you like updates since the last video. Something else is she's constantly in shed. That's kind of a good thing. That's usually a sign that they're growing, even if she's not. Like, it took like multiple bath sessions just to get the shed off, especially right on top of her head. It's like so difficult there. And so yeah, like every piece of shed was perfectly off. And what do you know, 2 days ago she started going through shed again. So we're back to doing the same. So that'll be fun. Literally she's in shed every single video I do with her. Maybe we're stuck with a 15-inch Savannah Monitor for the next 10 years, which that works too. So either way, that's Bonnabelle. In an eternal state of terror. Well, I already said we've had like 2 of the angriest. First it was the Iguana, then it was the Monitor, and now it's this gal. Okay. Oh god, this is so scary. Ow! Oh, she didn't bite me. Actually, wasn't that bad. This lizard has what I would consider the best and worst attributes in a pet. The best being the fact that it's so beautiful. It's got amazing blue and orange coloring on it. I love orange on any animal, if you didn't know. And she's no exception. The worst is that they hate everything and everyone. And it's so intimidating. Like, the other lizards, they usually like run or whatever when they're scared, but she just fights back. She's not afraid to defend herself. And it's mortifying. That's why lots of people like them. I don't. So she, as you might be able to guess, is not a permanent one. We're also going to be at Reptile this weekend. I'm hoping she's going to sell there so that I don't have to deal with her anymore. So she's pretty large. They get much larger than this. This is a female. I think the males get larger, maybe. I don't know much about them. This is not a care video. But as you can see, I'm holding it on a piece of cork. You're going to be like, just pick it up already. But I don't want to. Stop. She's one that somebody, I think it was a PetSmart employee. It was like dropped off at PetSmart, so they were like, can you take it? So we're like, okay. This is like the 4th tokay we've had. And I don't want any more. So as I continue to clean up my tokay blood, this is the standing stay gecko. Another arboreal gecko that I thought I would be interested in, but turns out they're not exactly what I expected, I guess. This is also not a permanent resident here. We'll also be selling this one. So it's a fun animal, but I don't feel like saying much more about it. That's the standings. These are 2 teeny tiny crested geckos. We've only had these for like a week also. I made the mistake of mentioning in a video how I don't really like crested geckos. I stand by my claim, but now everybody wants to stop talking about it. So like, I will care for them. I'm not gonna like attack them if I have them or if you bring one to me. I still appreciate how cute they are and how they do make really nice pets. But arboreal geckos just not really my thing. I'm gonna show you them anyway though, because they deserve some attention. But yeah, these are geckos that start out pretty small. They'll get pretty large over time. So they're cuties and I can appreciate them. So this is a green basilisk. I'm not sure if we've shared her at all. She's a pretty interesting lizard. I'm not taking her out just because she was already taken out today to be fed. So she's gone through a lot of issues. At first she had some jaw problems. When we got her, her tail snapped off like halfway through, but that's been growing back well. So overall, she's been improving quite a bit. I wouldn't use her as the example of what you want your pet basilisk to look like. So she's getting there. It's fun to work with. and see her change over time. So that's the Basilisk. Now we're gonna move on to snakes, starting off with this corn snake that actually just recently sold, and he's being shipped off right after we finish this video, going to Virginia. So this is just a normal corn snake, a wild type, one of the most beautiful species, or beautiful morphs if you ask me. I think he's also going in a shed like again, and he's been growing like crazy, like a little corn snake should. So we got 4 corn snakes. We still have one, or other than this one, we still have a reverse Okiti. That one's on the site at Ethan's house. So it is crazy just how much weight and size he's already put on in the short period of time we've had him. Really excited / like bittersweet to see him go off. But just want to give him a little highlight beforehand. Not much else to say. He's been chowing down and doing his corn snaky things. This is your boy Sonny, my first true reptile that I bought with some Eco Earth on his belly. So I've recently featured him in a video on getting your picky snakes to eat, because he's been a snake that's now been off feed for going on 9 months. And he still looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I would expect a snake that hasn't eaten in 9 months to look way worse. So I did a full video. I won't talk about him not eating just because there's like a 20-minute video on that where I go in detail. But other things, he's been doing wonderfully when it comes to attitude, energy, and everything. Still really happy with his health overall. I still try, so I didn't take him out for months just because handling while trying to get them to eat is not really gonna work. But this past couple weeks I have been handling him more, just because one, I needed to weigh him to see how much weight he lost, which has been less than 100 grams in the past year. And he started about 1,200 grams, he's now at about 1,070 grams, I think. Which is, like, we have snakes lose weight so much more quickly than that when they've only been off feed for a couple weeks. So it's crazy how different his metabolism is. And he's certainly been in probably the most videos over anyone else. So a lot of you know him. He was on our old merchandise, he's not on this one, but he might be coming back because people have been asking for more ball python merch, since I'm kind of known as like the ball python channel at this point, which I'm cool with that because I love them. They never get boring to me. Which a little preview to what you're about to see is we have a lot of ball pythons right now. So this is a yellow belly for morph context. Let's go ahead and check out the others. And here are my other 2 personal ball pythons. So now I have 3 of my own. This is a spider, I'll get to that in a second. And this is Smokey, the yellow belly Mojave. He was brought to me a couple years ago by someone that just realized ball pythons weren't for them. So I happily took him, and he's been rocking, doing his thing. He's grown a ton since I've got him. He used to fit in the palm of my hand. And even him, he's been eating every single week for years. And he doesn't look that different from my snake that hasn't eaten for almost a year. So it's really weird how different they are with their metabolism. And moving on to this boy, who was sent to me, and also sideways, he was sent to me a few months ago, I guess, from someone that also just didn't want him, I guess, or something. He's still underweight, as you can see, much worse than Sonny. Not one of the worst we've had way worse ball pythons, and he's been quarantined for like a long time, so I'm fine with them being with each other. If you know anything about the spider morph, or the spider gene, it is a gene or morph just like any other type, whether it's like banana or yellow belly or whatever. Spider is one of those where it looks pretty beautiful, as you can see, but it causes some really weird neurological issues that aren't, I cannot talk about all that in this short segment on ball pythons in this. Short explanation, spider ball python genes suck because it kind of ruins the life of them. Now, there are many spiders that are perfectly fine. They show like almost no signs of any issues whatsoever, but you don't know until they're born. So unless you want to just like kill your spiders after you're born, you might end up with something that suffers for decades. So kind of depressing. Again, we'll go in more detail maybe later as to just how it affects them and why you shouldn't buy from dumb breeders that sell them. So I told you we have a lot of ball pythons. These are 5 more that we have. There's 6 in total. The 6th one is hanging out in his enclosure because we're gonna try and feed him and don't want to mess that chance up. But the 5 here, plus the 6th, they're all from the same person. Unfortunately, he just couldn't keep them because of some financial reasons, so we were super glad we could be a home for them before we rehome them, which he knows we're gonna rehome them and everything. So I'm glad we could do that, but it's still sad. They all look wonderful. This is the biggest and chunkiest, and so they were all eating live. We only sell snakes once they're eating frozen. So we've got 2 on frozen, 1 on live, and 3 have not eaten anything. So that'll be fun to work on. How can you get tired of ball pythons? They're so fun, so colorful, and just so cute and everything. Ball pythons are superior. So the next two animals are the ones on my shirts. I'm not gonna take them out right this second because they both just ate like a half hour ago. But down here is Gobi, the corn snake, and up there is Shadow, the rat snake. I guess my only two colubrids that belong to myself. So Gobi is a reverso kitty. Lots of people are very interested in his morph. And Shadow is just a normal rat snake. Now I'm here with my smallest and largest snake, the two Boas. It's not very comfortable in here, but for the sake of the shot, we're doing it. So she's also getting angry for some reason, I don't know why, but it's fine. This is Rosie, the BCI, who I believe is a BCI. I'm pretty confident about that. People are gonna disagree, but in the end it doesn't matter, because we're not selling her or anything. This is really uncomfortable. And I'm actually kind of scared. Okay, that's better. So Rosie just recently shed. She looks beautiful right now. I always like to flex the fact that I've never had a stuck shed on any of my large snakes, because I feel like a lot of people have to help them every single time, but she's all good, all by herself. Same with Ember here. Really interesting too, because they have a much higher humidity than this, and yet they're both Boas. I don't know, who cares, but I think it's cool. I get tired in like 2 seconds handling her. So Rosie, if you didn't know, I have a lot of videos on her, or like 3 videos on her. She is, I got her like last year, which was like a few months ago, from my old school. She was living in the same enclosure for about 2 decades, a little bit less I think, but close enough. So longer than I've existed, she was in the same enclosure. It was not this enclosure, it was larger, but worse. So she was also terrified and angry of everything. I'll add those shots in because I always like to compare. But she's changed quite a bit since then. It only took a couple weeks of work and she's like a happy gal, except for when I just got in her enclosure, she started hissing at me. I'm still weirded out by that. She never hisses. And then Ember, on the other hand, she's just one I got from an expo. Actually bought her from a rescue at the expo. She will get a bit larger. She's a female, so I'm hoping she'll get like 3 feet. If not, not a huge deal. I don't know if they're actually semi-arboreal or not, but they do love climbing, and I want to add a lot more to that enclosure when I have like actual time. So here's one of our 2 carpet pythons, 2 that we're keeping because we had the hopes of breeding them this season. We started really late because we acquired them like halfway through the breeding season, so I was trying to keep my hopes low, but then I got excited because she looked gravid and then we don't know what happened. So we weren't handling them at all during the actual cycle, but now that like probably nothing's happening, just who cares. She was never really handled beforehand. She's definitely doing better, but she's still not super happy about it. Carpets, I found they're just a really fun animal because they're large, but they're fast. The female here, it's hard enough holding one, so she's what you get to see for now. So this is a dude that's actually already sold. He'll be shipped in about a week is the plan. A fellow boa, just one of the common boas. What he is like a true mystery. It's really, everybody gives us a different answer. Either way, that doesn't mean that he is not super cool, because he's really fun. I was tempted by him, but managed to hold back from buying him myself, because I only need 1 big snake for now. Either way, he's been continuously growing. He was underweight before, perfect weight now if you ask me. More intimidating than Rosie, the big one. I don't know why, he's just got more of an attitude. Here's the one that everybody knows. This is Franklin, my reader slider. Like 12 years old now, doing his Franklin things. There's still some misconceptions about whether he still free roams or not. He does not. I let him out for like maybe an hour a week or something just for fun while I'm in here. But other than that, he hangs out in his 170-gallon enclosure. I just recently did a whole origin story video on him, which I thought that was a really fun video. I want to do more of those. It was really cool looking back at his 2 years here and how he's changed in his enclosure and everything. Most noticeable differences is he's finally eating vegetables. It was so hard to get him to eat that. I tried dozens of types over the 2 years, and he started eating them after I offered him duckweed, so duckweed is king, and it saved the day. Also, his shell looks wonderful now, other than like the lumpy MDB parts, which unfortunately is not reversible, which happened before I got him. But his shell rot is looking lovely. There is not a speck anywhere on his entire body, so I'm really happy about that. Looks beautiful. But check out all the videos of Franklin because they all deserve to be watched. Also, almost forgot to mention, he's been on a pretty consistent diet for a long time, but he recently started gaining like a lot of weight. He started pudging out just a little bit right around the corners there. So luckily they lose weight super quickly too. So just cut his diet back to about 2/3 of what it was, and now his weight's looking good again. So glad to know that that's easy to fix, and hopefully we'll avoid that in the future. So right here is Harriet, the eastern box turtle, one of my favorites in the room. Recently did a video on making this pretty cool vivarium. It's being kept up quite well, if you ask me. This plant's completely gone because she devoured it in like a week. So I've replaced it 3 times and she just keeps eating it. So I don't mind, that's why that spot's empty. That one plant in the back is kind of dry, but other than that, the aloe vera is doing really nice, the Sigonium's doing really well, and there's another one up there, also kind of dry, but plants are not my forte. I'm getting better each time we do an enclosure, but we're not quite there yet. Yeah, I'll keep adding plants as I find them. It's really just hard because she really keeps eating them all. If there's no animal in here, I think it would look a lot more full because the plants would last. But also the springtails and isopods have been doing well. I'm pretty sure she's still under the substrate. Temperatures have been cooler, so she's just been like chilling. I won't take her out because I'm guessing she's asleep, and she already ate today. But I have lots of footage of her for you to see. So I'm happy with the enclosure and happy with the turret. And she's growing a lot, which is exciting. So right here is the snapper. I swear I tried to get him out, but I can't get him out of his little hide thingy. I'll show you some more close-up shots of him. I've had him for a couple years too. Also very tiny. They live so long, like box turtles, like you just saw, they live easily over 100 years, possibly closer to 200. It's hard to say since they live so long, it's hard to keep track. And snappers are more like a human lifespan, more like 70 plus years or whatever. So basically I'm like never gonna see him get large. It's gonna be forever till he's big, which I kind of like, because I can say I have a snapper, but I don't have to have like a 2-foot animal, so I'm not really complaining. He's a cute one. In the water, he's super confident. He'll bite at anything, do whatever he wants, but once he's out, he just like freaks out and hides. So it's interesting how much he changes. Just in a very shallow little 10-gallon here. Of course, he'll need more space. He really doesn't do a ton, but the shallow water makes it easy for him to reach up to the surface, because they're not a swimming turtle, even though they're basically always in the water. They're not great at swimming. They just chill out in like muddy, shallow ponds. So just kind of mimicking that. But those are our 3 turtles. Yeah, there's 4 more animals in the room, but we're gonna save those for the amphibian tour because I want to go more in depth with all those. And there's a new amphibian in the room that you might have seen if you follow on Instagram at @go_herping. I've said that 5 times. So that does it for all the reptiles in the room. Like I said, the amphibian tour should hopefully be up in like a week or 2. There's a lot of animals. This is by far the most we've ever had in a tour like this. I don't know how long this has been. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, merchandise is ending in a couple weeks, but there will be more designs in the future if you're watching this video in the future. If you would like one of the animals, the ones that are in here might be available on the site when you're watching. So you can follow Emerald Scales at @_Emerald Scales on Instagram, or check out the site. You can join the mailing list. And of course, my channel is what you're on. If you made it this far, why wouldn't you subscribe? Like, come on, you better, because there's a lot of good content if you ask me. Some other stuff. Again, I'll link all my favorite videos down below so you can get an idea of what me and the channel is like. Hopefully you enjoyed. This has been a lot of talking. I'm tired of my own voice, and you are too. So, again, I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.